I'll make a motion to go into executive session under RIGL 42465A1, job performance, physical or mental health administrator, RIGL 42465A1, job performance, character, physical or mental health superintendent's goals evaluation, RIGL 4246A2, legal advice, litigation, collective bargaining, NEA, RIGL 42465A3, discussions regarding a matter of security, communications regarding incidents, RIGL 42465A1, job performance, physical or mental health or character, and 42465A2, director of finance contract, RIGL 42465A1, job performance, character, physical or mental health, teacher non-renewal and termination.
All in favor?
Yes.
Welcome to our October 22nd, 2019 Tiverton School Committee meeting. A special warm welcome to Mrs. Bond, our sole audience member. Can I have a motion to approve the consent, can I have a motion to remove item
7B1, so moved.
All those in favor? Motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Dr. Sanquioni?
Under personnel action, we have the appointment of a Portuguese teacher at the middle school, Anna Almeida.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to move up 14,
D.
Nope.
C.
Sorry, C.
All those in favor? Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the contract with Amy Roderick for Director of Finance and Administration.
So moved.
All those in favor? Dr. Sanquioni, update on the superintendent, sorry.
Surprise.
Update on the search for the Director of Finance and Administration.
Yeah, so I appreciate the action you just took on the appointment of Amy Roderick as the new Director of Finance for the Tiverton Public Schools. Amy will start her tenure here with us on November 18th. She comes to us from a Catholic school in Massachusetts, but prior to that had worked at several colleges in the arena of finance and in school in the business director mode. A lot of great experience, 2 great interviews, excellent reference check. Excited to have her.
Great. Ms. Farnworth?
Do we need to take a vote to
Appoint.
appoint?
I think if we've approved the contract, we have.
That's 2 separate votes,
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to appoint Amy Roderick as Director of Finance and Administration.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. We're very happy to have her, and it was a pretty long process. We went out for, we posted the position 2.5 to 3 times, and we were very lucky to get her. So, good work to everyone. We are on item 12A, home teaching policy number 1261, second reading. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Any discussion? Yes.
Amy, is there
You are-
anything different in here than what was presented the last time we discussed?
This has been reviewed by the policy subcommittee. We did that at the September meeting, and the highlighted tracked changes reflect that conversation of that subcommittee.
And did we make the changes that we talked about with
Ms. Dumas?
Ms. Dumas she did come to one of our meetings and recommend a couple of other changes?
Yes, those are reviewed at the subsequent policy subcommittees.
If there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the policy committee and to Ms. Donnelly Roach and Dr. Sanquioni. All right, item number 13A, Kearsarge Energy Contract. Dr. Sanquioni?
Not a lot to update here. Per your instructions at the last time Kearsarge was here, when you approved the contract, you asked to have the lawyer who reviewed the contract for the town look at the school's version of that. So Kearsarge created a contract for the school. It was sent to that attorney. I've been emailing back and forth with him. I hope to receive it back soon, and once I do, I'll put it on the agenda for your final approval and signature.
Okay. Any questions on the committee? Ms. Farnworth?
Do we know how much this is costing us?
How much does it cost the
For
attorney fee?
this contract review by the attorney that drafted the towns?
No, we haven't received any type of invoice or bill from them yet.
Have you, in your emails, have they promised a certain date?
No, they're working on it, is basically what they're saying.
Okay, I mean, I'm just concerned that the representative from Kearsarge was very patient with us as we, you know, went through the process of reviewing the pros and cons of entering into this agreement, and we are a month plus out, and we still don't have a contract. Is that a concern?
I don't think it's a concern of Kearsarge. I think they consider you voted that evening. They think we have an agreement, and they think they see the contract as more of a formality.
Oh, okay.
It parallels the town contract, so I've reached out to Paul Verduca from Kearsarge to try to help us get this contract as soon as possible. Yeah.
Can we give the attorney a deadline, and if we
Sure.
don't get it, we'll just move on without it? I mean, a month, that's just,
Yep. Yeah, let me call,
You should see
I'll
the
leave them
things I've
both.
let go for a month.
I'll email them both tomorrow and set a
I'd be
deadline with
finding a
them.
new physician. So.
That's what I don't let go. It's all the other, it's the contracts.
Yeah, yeah, only because he did, I mean, and it's great that they're being patient, but, I mean, if the same person that's reviewing it reviewed the towns, I'm not really sure I know what the holdup is for.
Yeah.
So if you would just tell him that, if we just let him know that the committee would like to vote on it at their next meeting, I'm sure they'll
Understand.
understand and bump it up in their priorities.
Will do.
Okay. All right, so if there's no other questions, I think we can move on to our next item, which is 13B, responsible use of technologies. I think we can take these sort of together. Responsible use of technologies for the staff and the students. And we just got tonight, I think, actually some feedback from parents, which I'm still sort of working through.
Yeah, I was
thought
too.
it was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's great,
Yeah, no, they had some really good points. I don't know have you guys had a chance to look through these either?
Yeah, we
Any,
cut it off today at noon, which is, we wanted to give right up to the last moment. We were actually getting a lot in over the last couple of days, which is why you're getting it today. So yes, we have looked at it, and a couple ideas come from it as far as adjustments to the policy, but most of it's very positive, as you've seen.
Yeah.
So did you want to just take this feedback up through noon, talk to your team, tweak the policy in any way, and then just bring it back for I guess, a second reading?
Yep, I thought that's what our plan was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So do you think did everything sort of come and then it stopped, or were people still posting things?
They still
when you
can
closed
post things.
it?
How
They
long
still
did they
can.
have?
Oh, so you just took what was there up through noon? They
Up
can
till
still
noon.
post
They
now.
could still
Okay.
post,
I
sure.
mean, we
Alright.
put it out last night, so it was really just, right?
Yep.
All right. All right, well,
Should we have a deadline? Should we say, look, leave it up through the weekend, and then after that, because that way that you guys can come back to us the next time? What do you think?
Well, seeing our next meeting is the 12th, I suppose we could leave it up there for another week or so.
Well, yeah, and I don't even know if a week, if you wanted to just let people know, hey, all comments through the end of the week, this weekend, so that you guys still have plenty of time. I mean, I wouldn't hate to not leave you time to address them. So maybe, does that sound okay?
Yep.
Maybe just let, something on the Facebook page or whatever that says, comments will be open through the end of this week, Sunday, and then that'll give you guys plenty of times to look at them. That sound good, Dave?
Yes.
okay. Any other comments or thoughts from the committee or audience? Be interesting if we had a way of people posting from online. Anyway, all right.
And thank you very much to the people who have already
Yeah,
read
voiced their-
those
yeah, yeah.
and given us feedback. And if anyone else has any more feedback, because I know this is being posted live, the meeting's being carried live, please do so. Go online and read those policies and get back to us. Some great feedback.
Would we have an opportunity to go into it a little bit more deeply once you've perhaps entered in any tweaks that you have, rather than just approve?
Well, the policy would have to.
Well, we'll see the policy changes.
Right, so the policy's written and has had a first reading. I don't know if if you guys revise it substantially, it may need to go for a first reading again.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think the
Or we could
changes
even do
here
2 or
are
3.
not substantial.
the concern I have is the first reading was, I think, in our hands the day of our last meeting. So we really didn't have any grand opportunity to review it in advance. And even though we have had time now, I don't think we're getting into the nitty-gritty tonight unless we are. But it certainly, you're looking for feedback from parents. I assume you're looking from feedback from staff as well on that version, and that perhaps there might be some
Yeah. Well,
small or large changes.
Well, we can
don't
always,
know.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have to approve it next
Yeah,
meeting.
I think, when you guys are ready to bring it forward again, that can be the second reading. If we feel like it needs another reading after that, we can certainly, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's nothing substantial.
Or if we
here,
have
but okay.
questions, we'll just
So we'll
continue
list
it
it
to
as a
another meeting.
second reading.
Yep.
Yep.
and then- okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments on items 13B or C? Okay, we are moving like a freight train. Item 14A, electric usage, Mr. Mendes?
As you know, we've had a little spike in electricity usage. I contribute it all to the new heating system.
A what?
The previous heating system we didn't use a lot of the univents, the motors were off. Because it either got too hot in the room, so once it reached temperatures the teachers and staff was comfortable, they shut it off. Sometimes they didn't run for 2, 3, 4 days, sometimes even longer. That's one factor. A lot of roof units, we've got a lot of big roof units on both buildings, high school and middle school. Those use electricity. So it's a combination of all that brings up the kilowatt hours. We're dropping kilowatt hours on lighting, but we raised it on the facilities themselves to keep the building cool and warm and comfortable. And in the summer months, we've got the big air conditioners running now, which we never had before.
Okay.
Because I did, like I said, when we looked at this, we were looking at this as part of Kearsarge, and I was actually quite surprised to see that even though LED lights, which are supposed to use about 75% less in kilowatt hours,
Yeah.
our kilowatts have actually gone up.
Right, but you also have all the motors that we are running now that weren't running before. Because now we have more units that actually service the air quality in the building. We have air coming in, bad air is going out. The CO gases build up in the built room, they'll exhaust more CO gas.
We also have those fans,
Fans,
those
yes.
big fans. I'll leave
I
it.
can't imagine they
Big
take
fans.
that,
those-
they can't imagine they take up that much kilowatt.
I don't know, I mean, are they running all the time?
All if the people leave them running, yeah, you're gonna use a lot of them, but the sports find that they're interrupting the sports in the gym.
They
so
just shut 'em off.
Okay. So they're
Well,
not on constantly
not
when the
constant.
building is open?
But the only ones that are actually on constantly are the middle school and the auditorium here. The gym itself here, they tend to shut them off and not turn them on.
So really, this jump that you're saying we're seeing is really just because of the heating and ventilation?
Yes.
Because
Wow.
like I said, I was just really surprised with all of the complete change over on
Right.
all of our lightings to LED, that our wattage actually went up.
And you're gonna find another savings in the oil bills, too.
Ah, okay.
So.
So
we're
we
gonna-
don't
we're
see it
gaining
here,
savings
but we'll see
elsewhere,
it
but
there.
we're spending it here,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
So that'll actually be something we can learn about as we go through this coming
Yes.
winter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so when we considered the change over to LED and a lot of that stuff, there was a savings there, and there probably still is a savings there.
Yeah, there's probably a
That
long-term
was
savings,
considered
too.
relatively independently. It had nothing to do with
Another-
running all the
probably the
fans and motors and
HVAC.
other
Yeah.
things that come with the,
I
but
mean, and
hopefully
obviously,
that's
you'll have to
seen
be
in-
changing them less, they last longer.
Yeah, that's
so
the other
there's-
thing,
There's
buying
savings all
bulbs.
in that, too.
Right.
You're gonna be saving on light bulbs.
I was just sort of
bulbs.
surprised when I saw it, that it was
Yes.
like, oh, wait a minute, our kilowatt hours went up?
Yes,
Okay,
because if you look at the elementaries, they pretty much stayed the same.
yeah, and some even decreased,
Yeah.
like Pecasset.
But when those first came out, remember, Mr. Lindy, when the elementary first came out?
Yeah.
Oh, what is this?
Yes, it was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble now.
We plugged two things in at Fort Barney, because the whole
Yeah.
school went out before, so, yeah, shocking.
But you're right, we'll definitely look at the oil when it comes in
Right.
comparison, but that was it, is it just sort of jumped out at me that, well, wait a minute, but that makes total sense.
So if I just look at the grand totals of kilowatt hours, they're sort of circulating around a mean, because one was 574, one was 564, and one was 586.
Yeah,
And the,
but you have your peaks
And I'm
and
looking at the bottom.
ups and downs.
Oh, that's sewage treatment, sorry.
Yeah, sewage on the bottom,
yeah.
and then the field lights. I mean, and it wasn't, it's certainly not totally out of whack, it was just like, oh, I
It was-
really expected to see it
A
go
lower
down.
number, yes.
Yeah, so,
You expected to see the low number
I
instead of
was
the higher number.
expecting to see it go down,
The
exactly.
middle school jumped though a lot.
Yeah, 546 to like 619, yeah, it did.
But again, we have to compare it to the assumed decrease in oil.
Right.
Right, but, yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't have anything to, probably not, because that, you know how we have lights that are on all the time now, and we just rely on the dimmers, but I would think that would help.
Yeah, well, they're automatic lights go off. That's a big help. Normally, the lights would be on all day long,
Yeah,
not as shutting them off.
okay,
Okay?
makes sense.
Any other questions?
And it's a healthier condition, as you said, the years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
got a better
absolutely.
quality air in the
That's
building.
really important, yeah, that's cool.
You're not having children starting to go to sleep.
That's good.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of an eye-opener. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Huh. All right. Where'd all my things go? Oh, there it is. Found it. All right. Item 14B, the RIDE 5-year capital plan. I'd actually asked Dr. Sanquioni to just put this on the agenda so he could sort of let us know where things were with that. I think it's something he's been working with Mr. Crowley over the last few weeks or so. So, Dr. Sanquioni?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the document expresses to you, we currently have a 5-year capital plan with RIDE that expires this year. The importance part of having a capital plan with RIDE is that that's where your reimbursements come from. It's only items on the RIDE-approved capital plan that we can apply for a reimbursement with. We also have a district capital plan. We put that together last year and are revising that again this year, which in essence should merge with the 5-year capital plan. And so as that plan comes to its end, we also work with RIDE to obtain a grant from them for $100,000 to help fund the recreation of a new 5-year capital plan and actually for the execution of some of the projects on that plan. So you have a copy of the current 5-year capital plan in your packet, the new capital plan that we put together last year, and the agreement we have with RIDE. The new twist to this is that RIDE strongly suggests that schools have a owner's project manager, an OPM, and they're incentivizing school districts to do so. If you have an OPM, you automatically qualify for an additional 5% reimbursement. So Tiverton base right now is 35%. That would move to 40. but then you can also apply for other reimbursements that you can't qualify for without an OPM. For example, some safety reimbursements, another 5% with an OPM. So we've been researching OPMs out there. Certainly want to take advantage of getting the help to create the new 5-year capital plan, to having that additional reimbursement for all of our projects. So I wanted to alert the committee that at our next meeting, we're going to bring to you a recommendation to, and a contract for an OPM to engage with the Tiverton Public Schools, again, to help create the new 5-year capital plan, to submit it to RIDE, and then to assist us in any of the projects that get funded.
Peter, one of the things I noticed when I was looking at this that is a little different, it mentioned somewhere having a building committee, but and it says the school committee should appoint the members of the building committee to report to us. That's a little different than what we did before. What we did before was the superintendent had a building committee, so we didn't have to meet open meetings requirements, and they weren't appointed by us. So that seems like that is one small difference.
And you're looking in the agreement with RIDE?
Yeah. The memorandum of agreement, it says that we need to appoint a committee that would, the Tiverton School Committee will charge and appoint the school building committee with a scope specific to this agreement.
Yep.
It's at the end of page 1. So that is a little bit different than what we did before, so we'll just need to, when you're ready, we'll need to do that, and they'll need to understand that because they're an advisory board to us, they will have to meet open meetings laws, where, that's a little bit different than what we did before.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Black.
I also noticed, they talked about the use of capital reserve funds.
Mm.
We did that, and that was a good idea, because it saved the state substantial amounts of financing costs and everything.
Absolutely.
They like that idea, which we just did in the past 2 years. Very important that the community knows that. A lot of these things that we did came up. And I like that what said it's completed, or it's almost completed, and it's a very good list for the community to see all the different things we've done, and many of them for health and safety. Like that door right there, that it's like, it doesn't sound like much, but it costs a lot of money, and those windows, we have to have them for the safety of the students and
So,
stuff.
where,
Back again, the building committee, they really worked hard on all those issues.
yes. So, you said there's a memorandum of agreement in our
Yep.
backup? Why can't I find it?
It's right after the stages, and at the top, it's with RIDE. It says Rhode Island Department of Education Memorandum of Agreement. It's right after the ones that,
Here you are.
right there. Right here, Jim.
Oh, okay.
See it?
All right. Yep, now I do.
That's the one we signed back in
We signed it
May.
quite a while ago, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. All right. Yes, I was wondering why my signature was on it. Okay. And that $100,000 is unrestricted, or is going to support the salary of this
OPM,
management
I would
person?
It will pay for the OPM, it will pay for the creation of the 5-year master plan, and it will also pay for assistance on projects that get funded by the school department, as far as if they have to go out to bid or things of that nature, and the
perfect.
oversight of those projects.
Is the so the OPM is the owner's project manager?
So they work for you.
They work for us. Is that person someone who is typically doing this for several districts, or, so it's a contractor?
Yeah,
in
they're a
sense,
firm,
or
that's what they do, that's
it's
the
not
work.
a
It's not an
full-
employee.
Not a
Oh,
full-time?
no, it's a firm.
We
Yeah.
don't
Not a-
need an RFP for that?
Full-time position?
Off the state bid list.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not a full-time employee, I'm sort
No,
of thinking,
no, it's a firm,
Town planner,
right.
it's not the town planner, it's.
No.
It's
This is
a
specific work.
firm, okay. And you said it's off the state bid list?
Yeah, so we looked at several firms who were listed on there, which allows us to choose then the one we feel is a best match for Tiverton.
Okay. Is RGB on there, or?
RGB's an architect, so they will
Right.
interface, and we'll
So
still
it's
keep
somewhat
RGB.
different.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna, next meeting, you're gonna bring this OPM to us, and then this OPM, along with the building committee that we'll appoint, you will come back with a revised 5-year capital plan, yes?
Not, the 5-year capital plan will take some time to develop.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the
They'll-
assistance from the OPM.
They'll help us, when you see the OPMs.
Well, I don't mean like right away, I mean eventually.
Yes, eventually, thank you.
No, I didn't mean like next
Next week,
meeting.
okay, as long as you didn't mean that.
So,
I was just, next step.
Next step.
just to clarify again, and you may have said this, how is this grant going to be managed? Does this come to the school department? Is it managed here? Is it funds that are held at RIDE? How does this work?
Funds that are held at RIDE that we draw against for approved purchases.
Okay. Very good.
And when does our current 5-year plan actually expire?
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on track?
Yeah, so we want to
Okay.
get the new one submitted. And as Ms. Black keenly recognized, if you look at the current 5-year plan, almost 95% of it's complete. So you can submit a new plan early. And so as soon as we get it submitted, then we qualify for the reimbursement. So that was part of the thinking on this.
Okay.
Okay. Which I think is a, testament to this and the past administration that we managed to get that much work done with,
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
With,
to Sally's
uh,
point, we've been on top of this.
yeah. Kelly?
Can I ask one question? Kelly Levesque, Crandall Road. Did you solicit any recommendations from RGB or Allberg as to the OPN?
RGB, we wouldn't speak to Allberg about that,
Okay,
conflict of interest,
okay, gotcha,
because the OPM helps with the selection of the GCs.
okay. And would this OPN then come aboard immediately and then oversee the bathroom projects?
We're hopeful of that, but, yeah, that's part of the thinking, that we get that project approved by RIDE with the OPM so we can get that actual reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's a lot of people that feel that that is the most urgent part of any capital.
Yeah, so,
Thing we're
see,
doing.
I think it's within the scope of the 5-year capital plan, because it's on the old
Oh,
one.
definitely.
We did go out to bid on that and received one bid back, and it was Allborg. So I will bring that contract for your approval at our next meeting.
Perfect.
Okay,
And they bid it successfully. It's a good bid.
Okay,
great. I like the sound of that, anyway.
all right, where are we?
Anything else? All right, so we are up to 14E.
D.
No, D.
D.
D. D.
That one's mine, the
Oh,
blank
yes.
person. I asked that this be put on tonight's agenda only to call attention to the entire committee of the need for us to take a look at this and probably several other projects in light of the new school improvement legislation that's to take effect next year. Now, one thing I have learned is that this particular project doesn't need to be addressed immediately.
Policy.
What did I say,
Project.
Sorry. But I do think it's incumbent upon all of us to take a good read of the one that's out there now. It is in need of update. I mean, there's a lot of old language in there to begin with. But, to start thinking about, and I know Dr. Sanquioni is scheduled to go over the legislation with us at our next meeting, but to kind of keep in mind that we'll be looking to update this policy, beginning in early 2020, starting to address some of the finer points, because school improvement and school improvement teams are going to be front and center in our lives, and we want to make sure that we're all putting down expectations of these teams and each other. That's all I had.
Okay. So I don't think that necessarily needs to be a vote.
No, it's just,
It really
I
more
think the policy
informational.
subcommittee and I guess
Should
Dr.
take it up.
Sanquioni, we just need to be aware that because of this legislation, there's some policies we probably want to focus on first.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Black?
Okay, thanks, Diane.
Putting this on, it's very important, it's gonna start in January, right?
January
I
1st.
talked to Representative Meadows about it today, and asked him if he could compile anything that we needed to know also. So
Mhm.
he's gonna do that for me.
Nice. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any other,
Space management, right?
Not
Site-based
site-based, school-based,
management.
yeah, not site-based. They still work within a district.
The model in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
we went to that conference,
Yep.
But you're presenting that on the 12th, right? Yes.
Yes, next
I
meeting.
also reached out to the Association of School Committees, the Rhode Island Association of School Committees, and they're going to be tackling this subject as part of their
Oh.
annual meeting next May, so it's going
Oh,
to be a little
nice.
ways off, but they
Nice.
are.
And they already did it at their last one, they had everybody come in and talking about it and seeing how they felt about it and all that stuff. So
When was that?
In the
This
in
last
the
one.
meeting in May?
Then you'll-
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, this one will be subsequent to the inaction.
Yeah, see what happens. Okay, thank you for putting that on, it's better address that.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Item 14E, request approval for high school donation.
I'll take that on behalf of Mr. Ashley. As your packet identifies to you, the Tiverton Boosters Club has generously decided to donate 2 high-end cameras to support the athletics and the educational program. They'll be used to film athletic events up at the field. It'll be a great boost to our coaches and to our players to see this high-quality definition filming and be able to work with it. So I ask you to accept this with gratitude.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to accept.
I'll like to accept, second.
Any other discussion?
Our boosters and our PTOs have been on fire.
Yeah.
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 Great.
Yes, thank you very much for all of that. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Wow, we're on announcements and scheduled meetings reports. So Mrs. Black wanted to report out on the breakfast for school wellness.
Yes, I just wanted to report, we went to the Breakfast for School Wellness, and the good news is this year, we didn't even have enough room at our table for 10. There were more people than we had room for, so that was very nice.
Everybody got enough to eat?
And, well, that's another story, but it was good to see everybody from all around the state. And the other good news is, when they were asking what districts had done this or that or the other, we stood up at almost every one. And a lot of that had to do with Tiverton prevention, all the different movies they show and things they do. So it was really a nice morning. Thank you for the ride, Mrs. Paper.
Okay.
If I could, I don't know if this is a good place to interject. Speaking of scheduling, you have,
Hold that thought. You're talking about the meeting schedule? Yeah. So I think we go to, when we get it at under C.
okay,
Okay?
Okay, so what are we on, B,
So we're on B?
which is our next meeting?
No,
Chairs meeting? That's
the
right
chairs
now.
meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
not
It's not
according
there.
to what we see on the screen.
Screen,
On
Ah.
the agenda, it's 15B.
that's why I was like.
That's why.
Oh,
I
why
cut you
you-
off.
15B chairs
Thanks,
meeting.
Jerry.
Dr. Jerome.
Why don't
You
we
are
just-
correct.
You
That
gotta
is
ask
not
about
correct.
the day.
That is not correct.
All right.
It does say it
You know what?
on
You go first.
You sure? Yeah. Okay. I was looking ahead
Which
at
one are
our
we on?
meetings. This is asking for a scheduling change. We have meetings in November scheduled for the 12th, which is the day after a holiday. And we have a meeting scheduled for the 26th, which is the week of Thanksgiving. Due to some personal commitments, I may not be able to make the 12th. And I was wondering if the committee would have any appetite for moving our meetings in November up 1 week to the 5th and the 19th instead.
Dr. Stanchioni?
Just give me one quick second.
Okay. Those are okay with me?
I can't be here on the 12th either, not that that matters.
Well, then it'd be sort of risking our quorum.
I just want to make sure I can make the fifth.
And I wouldn't want to miss that new legislation presentation or any discussion of the FY20 budget.
You see anything on the 19th?
So I'm good with the 5th, and I'm good with the 19th. Elaine or Sally, do you know if you're,
So what dates are you looking at, Diane?
The 5th and the 19th, so
So-
basically backing up to the Tuesdays before.
The 1st and 3rd instead of the 2nd and 4th, and it keeps us out of the holiday weeks too.
so usually we do the 2nd and the 3rd, no, 2nd and 4th. And as it turns out, October is one of those months where there's actually 5
It's
Tuesdays.
long anyway. Well,
So we're not kind of coming one week after another. And so we'd be going the, so basically we'd just go into the 5th, or the 1st and the 3rd, rather than the 2nd and the 4th.
Fifth is okay, but
That
the
one.
19th. Mrs. Mendes, could you move my health and wellness meeting to the 5th, please?
Yes.
At 5:30? Thank you.
Dr. Sanquioni, do those work for you?
They do, yeah.
Okay.
So, you'll summarize.
Jerry,
Definitely
They work for me.
they work for me.
Elaine?
The 5th is fine, the 19th, I'm not sure.
Okay. So why don't we
Sally?
Just let us know.
say that tentatively? If you let us know if the 19th's a big problem, we could seek an alternative date. Go back to the 26th. I mean, it's not Thanksgiving itself.
No. School's still in session?
Week before, it's the day before.
All right, so tentatively 5th and 19th?
Yes.
So I think we can set the 5th now,
Okay.
5th is fine.
and then we can, Elaine, if you can let Peter or me know if there's a big problem with the 19th, then we'll sort of reconsider it either.
For the 26th.
I mean, we can discuss that outside of a meeting, so
Yep, we
we
can
can
discuss
figure it
that.
out.
Thank you.
Okay, item 15C.
Well,
no,
chair's meeting is
15B.
on here,
Yeah,
so
Yes, it
I don't know
is.
why it's not on this one,
I
but
don't
it
know.
is on this
It's on
one.
this one.
it was posted. So
Yep.
15B, so RIASC has a chair's meeting that actually everybody is welcome to. It's usually the second Wednesday, no, third Wednesday of each month. And I'll try and be better about forwarding it when I get the notification, or you could contact Judy Spremley from RIASC, and they.
So when is it, the 20th this week?
I don't know when it is this, so I usually get them, a couple days ahead of time, or maybe a week ahead of time. So it was, actually, so I was gonna let you know
Last
what
week?
happened at it.
Oh, okay, perfect.
That was my point, but my point was also, if you let Judy Spremley know that you would be potentially interested in attending, you don't need to be the chair to attend. And I'm supposed to actually find someone if I can't make it, which I usually get to it. Anyway, there were two very interesting things that they talked about. One was litigation that's being brought regarding contract continuation. The legal argument being that actually the legislation that created the contract continuation, so right now, the legislature took up for the second time, as far as I know, it may have been even the third or fourth, legislation which actually said that if a contract with a collective bargaining unit expired, all the terms of the contract were continued until a new contract was executed, whether that be a month or a year or 10 years. That's been basically the practice, I think, of most districts, and certainly you always have the capacity, the parties to the contract always have the ability to agree that that's what they're going to do anyway, and I think that's sort of what the general practice is. But the assertion of the litigants is that that actually violates the contract provisions of the Rhode Island State Constitution, because it materially changes contracts that without the parties being, the parties to the contract having capacity to exercise their right to not be in the contract. The other thing is that it also, and this was what was interesting, so Angel Tavares from the law firm that he now is a part of, presented on this, and the other thing is that it also takes away, so his interpretation was that includes salary increases. So if a district grants a 5% salary increase to a collective bargaining unit, for 3 years in a contract, and they get to the end of that contract and they say, well, that was to sort of rectify things and try and raise salaries up to where they should be,
That would continue?
that would continue into perpetuity.
Oh, that's a problem.
That's right. So that I think essentially removes, I think that violates home rule, actually, because it mandates a certain taxation rate
Right.
for the town. That if one party to the agreement says, we can't agree for 10 years, 20 years, it becomes sort of like Bleak House.
And wasn't the intent for it to be non-monetary when they passed that?
So that's
That was
what
the intent.
I,
Maybe that's not what they actually did, but
and
that was the intent.
So I think when we do the legislative update with the school improvement team, it would be a good idea to bring that, the text of that law, so we all know what it says. And,
The contract continuation?
yeah,
Okay.
and so what Angel Tavares said was, it's not clear, but that is what the assertion is likely to be to the, whatever part of the, whatever party to the contract has the advantage, will say.
So who's challenging it?
So that was the thing that we need to, I would like to try and figure out. So there are a lot of towns, there's like 30, no, not, there's 15 or 16 towns that have already joined it. If the town joins it, then the school committee as a part of the town, or the school district as a part of the town, automatically is included. School committees could join it independently, however. So I think that's something we probably need to think about. So that was by far the more interesting.
When do we
of the two
have to make that
presentations.
decision? Is there like a time they're looking for people to sign on?
We have plenty of time, because I'm not even sure that the suit has been filed yet.
Okay.
So,
Can we ask that Attorney Robinson keep his finger on the pulse of this? and
yeah, so,
Perhaps even
so
come
I was thinking
to
that we
speak with
should
us as
ask,
well.
we should ask Dr. Sanquioni to, first of all, inquire of the town manager if he has heard of this and if they have joined the suit. If they have joined the suit, then we can sort of hear about it from them as well. But I would ask Attorney Robinson to look into it as well on our behalf.
I would
Because
think
this is
if,
going to be important litigation.
I would think if they were joining, we would have heard it in the open meetings
Yeah,
process.
I would have thought so too.
Right, so I think we're.
They may not even know about it.
Right, so I think this is pretty
good to
early
ask.
on in the
Yeah.
process,
Mhm.
but I think it is something we need to look into.
Okay.
The second thing, and Mr. Carnevale, you may want to sort of take this up at a subsequent meeting, was sort of the district's cybersecurity protocols. And it was people from the Department of Homeland Security, the state police, and the Rhode Island National Guard. And they had a meeting, I think, so they had a lot, and I'll share the slides with Dr. Sanquioni and the rest of the committee, but it'd be sort of good to get a presentation from you guys as to where we are with things, particularly with malware and ransomware, and sort of where our data backups are, if there's an air gap between sort of what might get compromised and
So
what we have for
that on a
backup.
future agenda.
So,
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Well, I think
It's interesting.
there were a couple
Yeah.
of towns on the island just over the summer that
Yeah.
had attacks.
So Coventry did,
Yeah.
too. They're not on the island, I recognize that. I know Rhode Island a little bit.
I think Middletown and Newport both,
Middletown
right?
Did they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Middletown did, yeah.
All right.
Middletown caught it quick enough.
Yeah.
Newport did as well, but not as successful as Middletown and Coventry.
Yeah, that would be a good future
Yeah.
item.
We do meet once a month in regards to this now, and we actually found out, and you probably heard of this as well with the state police, that with the cybersecurity, there's a company that provides it free to us. If we feel that an attack has happened or is happening, that they will come on site and help us immediately.
Yeah. So
Let's put it
anyway,
on the
let's-
agenda.
Yep.
So I think it's an important future agenda item. So,
Yeah, they're my new pen pals, MS Isaac. They email me 6 to 7
Yeah.
times a day.
Yep.
Yes.
oh, okay. Good. Glad you're on it. So so that was a question I had, and they said yes, but it's not as robust as it maybe needs to be. So sort of like there's a superintendent's association, there's a sort of association or group of information technology people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the Rhode Island Tech Directors.
Okay, and you meet monthly or?
Monthly, yes.
Okay, all right, good. So, Anyway, that's my report. So we talked about our agenda items for
The 5th, which
The
will now
5th.
be the 5th.
in attendance. Is that the,
Are we going to be ready for a budget already discussion, given
we
that
need to be? I think, yeah.
it's going to be very high level?
Yes, I love it.
Okay.
That'll be the.
Alrighty.
So, well, at least Amy will have not gotten here yet.
Nope.
For
So
her
I
sake.
said, is it going to be
We
very
did it
high
on the
level?
12th. It was like, this is your first day. Go to the school committee and present on
It's
the
not
budget.
starting till the 18th.
You're right. Oh, I thought it was the 12th. All right.
the
So, is attendance the absentee rate? Absenteeism? Okay, I think we need to think about that too. You know, my particular ask for that was, you know, how is that number derived? And is it something that, you know, so maybe if you guys could sort of think this through, you know, is it something that we're generating and giving to RIDE, and you're
RIDE
nodding
gives
your
us the
heads?
formula.
Huh?
So
RIDE
maybe,
gives us the
so
formula, so
maybe
it's
at that
equal
meeting,
district to
just
district.
show us
Yeah, a
what that
full
formula is.
presentation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because, yeah, okay. And then we have.
And then anything else we want, we can just send to you or Peter for the 5th.
Yep,
Okay?
okay,
And then we're gonna do the safety plan at the next meeting.
yep.
Is that going to be a problem, Peter, the Alice presentation? Were we having anybody from the outside come in if we move that?
Chief Jones, but I will email him
See if he
tomorrow.
can come the 19th,
Yep.
if we need him to? Okay.
And if he can't, we can go back to the 26th.
Yeah, if he can't, we'll go back to the 26th. I mean, that's,
At least that's my view.
yeah, I
sure he'll
agree.
come.
If we have somebody from the outside who already committed and he can't
Yeah.
move, we'll just move it back.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start talking about the strategic plan. Good.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for motion to re-enter executive session.
So moved.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Yes?
Yes.